Hey everybody, Mark Holloway
Connor.
with Meridian Medical Staffing. Today we're going to talk about why Meridian Medical Staffing. We want to tell the story a little bit about where we became and how we created this company.
Right.
Many of you guys know that the industry itself, I saw, and I've been doing this for 19 years, kind of go like this. Agencies, opinion of agencies went this way while their margins and their profits went up. About 7, 8 years ago, I was laying in bed at night, not sleeping as usual, and saying, wouldn't it be unique and different if we actually created a company and actually changed the way that travel nursing agencies dealt with their nurses by going with a thinner margin? And a lot of you guys know we work on 20% and we are adamant about that. We were in Vegas recently at a convention, TravCon, and I didn't hear anybody who was less than 25%. One of our nurses was mistaken for a recruiter or vice versa, and a recruiter came up and talked about 26% margin. We're wonderful.
As if they were really impressive, right? Yeah.
So we specifically, and when I was laying in bed and I said, I want to do something different. I want to get back to the way things used to be. And a lot of you have watched our videos, and today we're really kind of explaining the story as to why. And our philosophy is, if we're cutting out, less of the piece of the pie that we're all getting on that all-inclusive bill rate, doesn't that make a big difference if we're giving more of that to the nurse? And more nurses are starting to realize that it absolutely does.
Well, and it's also when you break it down $1, even more an hour, times that by 36,
It's
times
$500
that by
on
13. It's little things like that that nurses, I think, miss a lot of the times that we do definitely correctly here.
Absolutely.
But it's even more than that. I mean, we pay correctly between hours and 36 and 40. Problem resolution, look, we're in a very hectic, crazy industry, we all know it, and stuff happens, not getting paid, housing, something comes up, the bank won't take the direct deposit. It's all about how a company resolves these things and how quickly, and we're definitely one of the best in the industry as far as when these things arise, very rarely, but when they arise, you have to get them fixed and resolved right away for both parties.
Let's talk about that for a minute. So when I hired you 3.5 years ago, I told you the philosophy we had.
Right.
You came from an industry where you basically took advantage of customers, so to speak, all day long.
Yeah, really quickly, I'll just tell you where I came from. Before I interviewed with Mark about 3.5 years ago, I sold steel buildings, like pre-engineered structural steel throughout the United States and Canada, whatever. It was a big ticket sale. I would sell something and move on, never talk to the person again. I'm like, this isn't the industry for me. I wanted to help people. I wanted to build a relationship, consistently talk with somebody and help them be a better person, be a better individual, make money, things like that. And so that's where I fell in love with this industry and this position more than anything, is the opportunity to help nurses make more money, travel the country, deal with the hospital drama differently. I think we all know the benefits of traveling. So
Let's talk about making money. When I sat there and said, I want my nurses to actually make more money, I know that's a revolutionary thought, but I said, let's go with that 20% margin, which we beat up time and time again. But you mentioned hours 36 to 40. Tell me what it is about Meridian Medical Staffing that makes you proud to be able to walk a nurse through his or her package, specifically on those extra hours between the normal 36 that they might be working and they start going into overtime.
Well, you'll always hear, extra hours is this big 36 to 40 misconception, and a lot of the times what companies will do is they'll carve out a couple dollars of your hourly rate, and then all of a sudden they're giving you more money between these 4 hours than you work overtime after 40. But the truth is, we as a company don't bill any differently for those hours between 36 and 40. So in my mind, I go, well, where's that money coming from, Nancy Nurse? And we really break it down and help you understand where your money comes from. And I think that's a lot of what separates us from a lot of companies is education.
Yeah.
And the fact that we want you to know where your money comes from. And
I said I want my recruiters to be able to walk a nurse through his or her travel package and be completely, and I want you guys to really hear this, completely transparent about what we're being able to bill and what we're able to pay. So that there's no question. And you know what that does over time?
Trust.
It builds trust. Exactly. So what you're saying
retention,
is that
builds retention.
those hours from 36 to 40, we're not just giving them their taxable income. We're giving them their taxable and their tax-free hourly rate altogether. And then overtime, we're giving them time and a half of that combined rate, not just time and a half of the $20 an hour that they're getting taxed on. Little things like that. But guys, this is what adds up. This is what kept me awake at night. This is what made me so darn angry about what happened. It didn't used to be like this, and it became that way. And my philosophy was, if we started doing things right, and oh, by the way, people started hearing about what we're doing, wouldn't our agency grow, and wouldn't we become more profitable by making less money per nurse, giving more money per that nurse, and don't we win in the end?
And providing that customer service that's lacking in the industry. That's a big part why
Yes.
I work here, because I've interviewed with some of the other companies, of course, and so I realize.
What?
Well, that's no secret.
I'm kidding.
But they're pressured to have X amount of nurses per recruiter, and we're set up so differently here. We're not really commission based. We're more retention based. Making sure our nurses are happy, and that's a big part of
So
why
wait a
I
minute,
work
so
here.
I pay you more money if you keep a nurse happy than you do for someone that's not,
And I don't have to negotiate.
And I don't
with
pay
the
you more
nurse.
money the more bigger margin you make, like some of their companies do.
Right.
So in other words, you're incentivized to make a nurse and keep her happy.
Weekly
What a
check-ins. How
shocking
are you?
philosophy.
And it's why I'm here still.
Right, absolutely. So a lot of reasons, guys, why we would love you to try our company. And again, one of the highest retentions, and I don't know how many nurses you have that haven't worked for you in the past, but it's very few because you constantly are.
Out of the
keeping them
3.5
going,
years, I
going.
probably have a good chunk of them who've been with me for 3+ at least.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of your philosophy. I came into this industry not knowing a single thing, and you've taught me everything I know, and from there it's just all I live and breathe at this point. So even if you've never talked to us here, I highly suggest calling, at least finding out what we offer, what we do differently. Because I guarantee within first 2 minutes of a conversation with the recruiter here, you're going to see it very, very quickly.
A difference.
Oh,
Better
huge difference.
And that's the whole point. So we appreciate it, guys. Thanks for tuning in
Yeah.
today. We're going to continue this stuff. Like our Facebook page, subscribe to it, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks when we do another one of these.
Thanks
today.
Cool.